Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
But and for us to take this to the next level, we need workers, to work diligently, to establish, why don't we have a Rastafari strong business class where we can call up 100 brethren and they can write a check for $10,000 and don't even quint, Do we have that? Not that I know of as a frontline worker working from that time, and some people who are not, and even myself before I came in, we used to think the artists could do that. But when you come in to the chat now and you amongst the artists, you see their mind is on survival of their career, of their individual families, and enough of them have family problem themselves, coming from broken families and on the road, not exercising that sexual discipline and whole heap of mix up. So the whole thing is not focused on what His Majesty is showing us in Article 48, which is that the family is a source of the maintenance and the development of the nation. So if the family is broken, the nation is not going to be maintained or developed properly.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Yeah, Ras Tafari, Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Tell the people about embarrassment. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, well, to the coming while we stand tall, I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see the city streets them flood, look like the hurricane blow down their wall, I'll be by your side and me now but think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, to the coming war we stand tall, I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, but they see their city streets them flood.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmarch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man. I'm an entertainment attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network, and welcome to our flagship program, The Lion's Voice. After every Sabbath, we come here 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to highlight, the latest of what's happening. All different topics are here. We do everything from relationship topics, repatriation, things that are relevant to Rastafari, and in serving this niche, there are universal lessons. So we welcome everyone, whether you're Pan-African, whether you're just someone who love the culture, you're from Europe, you're from Japan, you're from Brazil, you're from South America, Australia. We have lion pride all over the globe, and that's been one of the humbling things that we're seeing. So welcome to the Lion Pride. Sistrin, your voices, we need to hear the H.I.M voices. Only 3% of the channel, less than 3% of the channel viewers right now are Sistrin according to the analytics. Now some Sistrin might be on an account that's registered as a male, so that might not be the truth. However, I need to hear from my Sistrin, please. And this is gonna be, there's no other Rastafari platform on the web that's gonna have more Sistrin than I and I. I know too many Sistrin around creation, and I'm gonna be bringing them all on this platform. So Sistrin, the item, have a voice here, because as brethren, even though it's 97%, we need to know how the Sistrin are speaking, what the Sistrin's thoughts are, because our duty is to provide and protect for these Sistrin. And today topic, we're going to talk about something that is central to the core of this channel, which is family. The Rastafari family, the Pan-African family, the global family, it's all connected. But the Rastafari family in particular, we just had a interview, a live Lion Talk live return with Empress Marina Blake, Rastafari attorney. And one of the things that she was saying was the importance of the family.
And I thought, listen, we as sisters, Rastafari empresses, we bear a lot. Because a lot of times the brethren, they misbehave. And some of them misbehave terribly. And put us in some, very bad positions, leave us in some bad economic, financial position. And the children too, without their parents. A man cannot just go and repatriate and one time to Africa and never come back. What about your children? What about your woman? Or if you don't even have a woman, what about your children? We cannot repatriate without our children. We need to make provisions for them. You cannot abandon your family. The family is the building block. Talk about nation building. You can have no nation without children. Without the mother, the father, the mother, and the children. That is the basis of any culture.
The discipline required, the virtue required for maintain, a healthy family. And she was able to show through her own journey, the example, and even some of the things that Prince Emmanuel did up at Bubble Hill to try to preserve, a certain structure within family and within the empresses, and certain things that, was specific to that time and place. So we definitely encourage ones, go watch the Lion Talk live that just passed. And again, today's episode, we're going to talk about the family. I'm going to go into the Constitution, the revised Constitution, Article 48. I see on WhatsApp the people passing around provisions of the Constitution. Some I love that, because now we want to leave the surface of this tradition that we call Rastafari. We want to look at what did Haile Selassie actually do, what was the teaching, what was prescribed for Ethiopia, what was the foundation, the physical, the literal foundation that was set to allow an environment for Zion, or the building of heaven on earth, to flourish, because that's how we look at Ethiopia and His Majesty's reign, as being there to establish a foundation. The highest of himself shall establish I and I. First constitution ever in the most ancient land on the African continent, the land that had never been conquered by outside forces. So the fact that this last sovereign space of African land was brought underneath law, a constitution, because before that the emperors ruled by decree, meaning that the royal decree go out. The Kebra Nagas was there kind of as a guideline, and the Feta Nagas was there as a guideline. So there were other documentation that was used guide, so the emperors couldn't go outside of those realms necessarily, but in fact, in application, the emperors ruled by their decree, and there was no protection for the citizen against the power of the powerful. So by His Majesty setting a constitution for the first time, you really free the captives, elevate the Ethiopian from a peasant to a citizen, which is a different level, because now citizens were given rights under the constitution, including in the revised constitution the right to elect officials. You know what I mean? So these are great things, but one of the things again that we see in the establishment of Zion through the constitution is that the family was given special protection under the law. And everything that we see within Rastafari, we have to look at very keenly, because as I talk to the sister, as I reason with other ones, brethren, that I will also be bringing forward on the channel, this theme continues to come up, because we see that trauma is preventing a lot of the work that we have to do to establish this heaven on earth of which we speak. Big up all of the Lion Pride, and big up all of the ones them in the comments. Some people, when they see what we talk about, it's fantastical, it don't make no sense, and they share that, and I welcome that, because this is not a yes man channel. So put your opposition in the channel. However, as Rastafari, we can't let the spectators on the side sway us from the mission that we know that we have been called to do. And why we say Zion and the earth is because we can't set our goal any lower. When we talk about the hungry fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, the infants cared for, and His Majesty says the ignorant instructed, that you're basically talking about heaven on earth, right? That's so, because that's not happening in the current creation, the current manifestation, the Greco-Roman reign that we currently find the globe operating under. We don't see these things, and we could argue that these things have never really been achieved in human history. So these are worthy goals, and His Majesty again set the mandate for these goals for His children. So there's nothing less that we can fight to attain than the building of heaven on earth. And this is why, when you look at it from that perspective, this is why repatriation becomes so important. A lot of people say, boy, wherever you're there is repatriation, but no, the stone that the builder refused becomes the head cornerstone. As a builder, and big up all of our engineers. We have a couple engineers that watch the channel. We have a couple builders. A brethren just mentioned me in the comments, and I'm going to reach out to the brethren, and we're going to talk about, because brethren have been reaching out as they see the content about their skills and want to connect. So we're going to talk about that to the end of the episode, of how we can connect, because this is not a talk shop. As you can see by the people I bring on the channel, is that work is happening behind the scenes. We're bringing on heavy hitters within the immunity, ones who are workers, not the talkers, because we don't have time for the theoretical part. We give thanks as young Ras sit down and back and forth with whole heap of theory, and that is also necessary. That's the realm of the youths. As the adults in the trad now, our responsibility is to build. Whatever you want to say about our elders left us, bequeathed us, I generation X. Our elders left us with a heritage, with an integrity, with a spiritual, mansion. That means that anywhere I go on the earth, we get respect. I can go to any ghetto around the world right now, and while there's gonna be danger because we're not naive, I have a better chance than most people on the planet of going through in an Irish fashion, and most time it's going to be even Haile, because the bad man them who are in these areas, they respect Rastafari. We didn't do that. That was established by the ones who came before us. So we give thanks for the heritage that was bequeathed. Now our generation responsibility is to build institutions. The number one institution that we must build is the family, because when we look at these elders, because of the sacrifice, because of the persecution, they were not able to maintain strong families. There are few, big up Irie Lion, I and I elder who came in the Washington DC, Mama Yanzi, we have certain ones, Ras Ivi, Sister Ivy, we have certain families, Bongo Rocky, Mama Baby I, we have certain families that were bedrock. And I'm speaking from a Nyabingi perspective, what I come and see. But there were very few elders who were able to maintain those solid family structure or family unit, Ma Shanti and Pa Shanti before him pass, Mama Fire, Papa Fire. You have ones out there where the family tradition, and this is so key in terms of I, and we know we leave a whole heap of people, and we know that, there's a lot that we don't know. So, drop the names if you want, drop the names, or if you feel a way, so mention anybody name, drop it in the comments, so that we can edify ourselves. But when it comes to family, there are very few that we can point to in terms of solid family structure. So that means that for us, how do we repay the great sacrifice that our elders made? We repay that by building those families. So I call out to my brethren, and most of my close brethren are family man, because I find that these are the most reliable brethren to work with and the most stable. Because when a man is maintaining a family, he don't have a whole heap of extraneous time for a waste, because youths them dead and the youths them need them. I have 2 teenagers, so any time I have not, for the nation building, I have to put to my youth them, because right now they are sponges. They are putting in the programming of Babylon Online. I have to counteract it with word sound, interact with them, joke, laugh, discipline. All of those things have to happen, and they cannot happen without my time and input. So these are the things, when you have a queen requires time, and we're gonna also do some episodes on maintaining, a wife in this hour, because these are things that we don't talk about. These are things that, are somewhat even taboo in Rastafari, but these are the things that are preventing us from doing the work, because a lot of us are coming out of broken homes, and that trauma, whether we're conscious of it or not, prevents us from moving forward. That flight or fight response colors everything that we do. So we're either fighting within our organizations, or ones just leave it. The flight, take foot and gone. And this is what we're seeing across. And I'm going to bring on some sistren to talk about trauma and things that we need to do. So everything that we talk about on this channel are the things that we need to move forward. I cannot go on a corner in every territory where there's Rastafari and sit up and burn a chalice and reason and mobilize. But through the Lion's Voice, we now have a platform where we can have the reasoning, where we can make that impact, where we can reach out and connect. So before I again go deeper, I want to just read from the revised constitution of 1955. Again, Haile Selassie set the Ethiopian constitution in 1931. Was one of the first things he did after being crowned. And the fact that he was able to do it in 1931 shows that he had this plan from before he even became the king of all kings, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Zenagade Yehuda, Ashanafe and Bessa. Before all of them title there was put on the king, this is what he wanted to give as his first major gift to the nation, was law. You know what I mean? So in this law, of 1931, it was very rigid, because at that time we didn't have a high literacy rate. The public education sector was not there. So giving the people too much responsibility to a people that didn't have it before, that were under the control of the great kingdoms and the great races, would be tantamount to just giving your opposition power, because the people are just going to vote whatever they're told to vote by. the ruling Ras. They didn't have, if you look at the Ethiopian system, the people had to pay tribute to these these powerful Rases. Landowners were sovereign in their realm. So, His Majesty had to take his time to weaken those bonds of power that the Rases had on the people. Again, freeing the people, all for one, one for all. Working in this manner, there can be no failure. A lot of I and I as Rastafari know that quote. So, as the Constitution evolved in this 1955, now the people were given the right to vote for the lower house. The Rases were still given power in what would be the equivalent to the U.S. Senate, the upper house, and these were the emperor's power was still absolute, as expressed by the Constitution. The only confines on the emperor's powers were outlined within the Constitution by the emperor himself, under advisement, of course, because a good leader is always going to take advisement and wise counsel. So in that, His Majesty made sure in the revised Constitution that the family, Article 48 of the revised Constitution, I think it's available online, you can go and look, speaks specifically about the family. And what does it say? Article 48 says that the Ethiopian family, the source of the maintenance and development of the empire, and the primary basis of education and social harmony, is under the special protection of the law. So I want to just break that down on this episode here. The family and the importance. What does he say? He says that the family is the source of the maintenance and development of the empire. So, our Rastafari families are so critical. We have a responsibility for the maintenance and development. Is the source. The family is the source. It also says that the family is the primary basis of education and social harmony. That means that these stable family units is where the education begins for our youths. So if the family is broken, then the education is not going to be top tier. Social harmony, the violence in the society, the lack of conflict resolution, all of these things start at home in a stable and balanced household. So this is why His Majesty put the family under the special protection of the law in Ethiopia, meaning this the family and our problems. So if our source is not strong, this is going to explain why we don't have a Rastafari school, why there is no world-renowned Rastafari health center where you can go and get the best bush medicine, herbal medicine alongside conventional medicine. Big up Priest Kalish, medical doctor in St. Lucia, who is building out the model and the infrastructure. But why is there not a renowned health center, healthcare facility, with woolly sunlight, where people not trapped under these dark spaces, like when you go to a hospital right now in the West, their design, how they design their health centers. Why is there not these things? When you look at the hospital food, some of the worst food, why is there not a Rastafari world-renowned health center with the best Ital cuisine and these things? Why don't we have a Rastafari university? Big up Sosa crew that is setting the foundation for these things to happen. And again, everything that I'm talking about, I'm shouting out ones and ones, because guess what? The foundations are already being laid, but and for us to take this to the next level, we need workers, to work diligently to establish, why don't we have a Rastafari strong business class where we can call up 100 brethren and they can write a check for $10,000 and don't even quint, Do we have that? Not that I know of, as a frontline worker working from that time. And some people who are not, and even myself before I came in, we used to think the artists could do that. But when you come in to the Chad now and you amongst the artists, you see their mind is on survival of their career, of their individual families, and enough of them have family problem themselves, you know, coming from broken families and on the road, not exercising that sexual discipline and whole heap of mix up. So the whole thing is not focused on what His Majesty is showing us in Article 48, which is that the family is a source of the maintenance and the development of the nation. So if the family is broken, the nation is not going to be maintained or developed properly. The family is not going to be, the nation is not going to be strong as it can be. So we have to focus to create this macro. You know, we have images of the Kazi project, all of these things, but to create this macro universe, this Rastafari reality, you know, where Ballad and Rastafari living in harmony. You know, where Naya Bingi a chant and Bobo drums a chant and 12 tribe dance a keep and the place of Highland, you know what I mean, industry is taking place, the ITAL standard is right there with the kosher and the halal as the top standard for food production. You know, for us to realize this vision that is emerging, because like I say, I don't talk about anything women don't know about. I mean, I talk about anything that's not happening, theoretical. But for us to manifest this in a more rapid rate, and as we manifest this and as we talk to the younger youth them, we want to just focus the youth them mind and let them know that family kings, you know what I mean, this queen selection, the vetting, the maintenance of the family structure. You know what I mean? This is the critical piece right now for this Armageddon. More lockdowns are on the way. World War III has already begun. Inflation is on the rise. The price of food, the price of basic necessities is going to continue to raise. This is the calm before the storm, brethren and sistren. You know, Haile Selassie, I sent I and I among the heathen them to warn. Yeah, I see the chosen few. So I and I still there. But within that now, we are calling on the ones who are watching. Yes, and hold on there. Let me just big up the Lion Pride, because we're building a family. As I build my own personal family, we're building our internet family. So big up the Lion Pride. Big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. You know what I mean? How do you become part of the Lion Pride, you ask? If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. That means if you support the type of content that we're saying, and you know, we had 6,000 unique viewers to the channel in the last 28 days. So like I used to say, if I was in a room with 100 people that would be a great use of time in terms of the time I invest into the channel. And now we have 6,000 souls across creation that are hearing I voice every 28 days. Unique viewers were over 10,000 in terms of views for the 28-day period. We're over 1.1 thousand in terms of watch hours. So whole heap of content is being consumed. It's humbling to I. We need more of that 6,000 to join the Lion Pride, because I know enough of them are Rasta, enough of them are watching and say, who is this brethren? What am I doing? You know? Will he be consistent? I want to let the item know that this is really part of I Trad moving forward. I have so much things that I'm doing, but I have to take the time, and I do take the time to make these videos. So I'm not going anywhere. We're going to continue with the interviews, you know, reasoning with brethren and sistren. So support the channel. And if you want to really support the channel, join us on Patreon. You know, if you're giving $10 a month to Starbucks or Netflix or all of these other platforms, I would just humbly ask the ones them, join at the Patreon at the $10 level. You know what I mean? Contribute $10 to see a Rastafari platform grow, because the more capital that we have, again, the goal is a production studio in Accra. We want to build a world-renowned Rastafari media apparatus on the continent of Africa. That's the goal of the Lion Voice Network. That's why I quickly evolved it from the Lion Voice one program to the network, because that's how I'm on mine work, in terms of legacy and the things that we need as we move on to the continent. We have to control the narrative. We have to have platforms. How the African brothers and sisters are going to see us is going to be determined by the content that we give them. What we've done up to this time is that we've allowed our artists to be the sole PR apparatus of the Rastafari movement. And there's good with that because music travels faster than anything, but there's bad with that because when the people find out how the artists themselves are living, create confusion with the youth. Them are try to emulate the artists instead of trying to emulate His Imperial Majesty. And this is why one of my theories why you don't hear too much artists that sing about the emperor, anymore. You don't hear them glory song like Garnet Silk Christ in his kingly character. The last one I remember that was prominent was Janai Noonim. So, we're not hearing these songs of glorification. Ibamar, may have to big up my brethren, Ibamar. I may have to get Ibamar up on the platform here too. Big up Ibamar, but great is him and them kind of song there. We're not hearing them song there right now from our Rastafari artists. And these songs are staples, these are columns in reggae and dancehall music. We need to be hearing these things. I interviewed Dwayne Stevenson. Him say, say these songs I make every day, but once I leave the studio, the business side, it don't come. Well, this is why again I am building this platform, because you're gonna see even by the artists that I interview on this platform, a serious Rastafari artist I will be interviewing on this platform, because those are the ones I interact with. You see what I say? So we need our own media apparatus. So support the channel. I say all of that to say support the channel. Come in at the $10 rate. Right now we have 4 Fire Angels. They're all at different rates. Some higher, some lower. You can come in as low as $5, a month. So come in and support on the Patreon and watch us grow, because I tell people H.I.M Superpower is the network, and the item will see the network, and there will be surprises in terms of the people I bring on the platform, because you would not know how the Ras know that one there, or how the Ras connected, because I may know a one that know a one. So you never know who is going to feature. It's not just going to be Rastafari people, and you can see that already if you look the catalog with Lion Talk and Lion Talk Live. So but we want to make our Rastafari family proud in terms of the quality and the production. I'm in my gates right now because you start wherever you are. His Majesty started where he was in Harar. He never waited till he became emperor to start implementing reforms and updates. So the same way we start where we are. So I'm starting it from my house, but I don't want 10 years from now I talk to you in my house. No. Want again to build state-of-the-art facility for production in Accra, and we want to branch out and bring stories from across the continent. We want to go into animation. We want to see the Battle of Ottawa animated movie, that premieres alongside the Marvel and all of these other animated movies into the Spider-Verse. Imagine Battle of Ottawa with them type of animation like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Imagine, the story of Solomon and Sheba. Imagine the story of Yah Santoa against the British in animation form. These are the kind of stories that we want to tell. I'm actually working on finishing my second book, which is a fiction work, a whole universe of characters. I love Marvel and DC comics, and I grew up with them thing there. But I look and see how they have Thor, and they put in the European mythology. And I said, we need these type of superhero stories, but infusing our own African mythology. So my story is set partially in Ethiopia, partially in America, but we have, people like Oshun, we have Shango, them type of people feature and make appearances in my story, as well as, some Ethiopian saints, and, it's a whole thing, based on historical record, but put it in a fiction setting. So that's my second work. We're working on these things. And again, when you fund the Patreon, you help to fund these works to come out. So support I within the Patreon, and again, make I build. But I want to just return to the topic. So, brethren and sisters, the family, is it a priority? I want to hear from the item in the comment section if a foolishness may talk or if it makes sense. I want to hear from the people. Please put it down in the comment section. Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Is family the institution that we need to focus on as a primary institution while we're building all these other institutions? Is trauma an issue? What is the topic? Family. I can't stress enough the importance of the family in all that we do, and that is the institution that while we're building these other institutions, brethren and sisters, let us focus. So, even if you're estranged with your baby mother and there's a hope, brethren, you need to repair that breach, at least until the children are grown, because a lion have to be there to govern the children. Too much of our children are being molested, too much are being abused, too much are gone astray with diverse doctrine, too much of these things are happening because brethren are not in the home and the sister them at work to keep bread on the table, and they cannot be there. Sometimes they have to work 2 jobs, all kind of things. And sometimes the sister them keep the youth them from the brethren them, and they need to work together, co-parenting solution. We have to think, we have to circle the wagons. We have to stand up right now, because again, the Gideon is upon us. We're in the calm before the storm. We have to make preparation. Big up Mama Desta, who talk about repatriation. We have to prepare for this repatriation. Repatriation is not just a overnight thing. Some of us are going ahead and establishing foundations and making preparation, but repatriation is going to be a wave. Even if it's a chosen few, a few of hundreds of millions, it's still wholly. Even if it's 144,000 or how much, whatever much amount of ones ultimately leave, as a part of this repatriation, because a government to government affair when you talk about repatriation. So everything that we're doing, although it's within the spirit of repatriation, we're still in that pioneering phase. So big up Empress Marina, and big up sister daughter Aini, big up Mama Thea, big up Mama Walete. All of these ones that I've been bringing on are ones who are actively going to the continent and setting the groundwork. We're gonna have a next sister shortly that I'll announce. So all of these ones are there setting that foundation. But again, we have to come home with families. We need to establish families. If we go home as a single brethren, you have to go with the mindset that I'm going to start a family and build a family, and not I'm going to sleep with all of the daughters them around the place because I'm a Rasta, and now people have viewed me as a top celebrity, as a Rastafari coming from the West, because I can tell the item when I go to Africa, you feel like a celebrity. The type of smile the daughter them a give you and thing is not no regular smile, because them a look upon you as that. So I understand sometimes why the artists slip, but we have to exercise discipline as we are moved through, because again, the family, so important. His Majesty enshrined it in the Constitution of 1955. So, brethren, let us commit amongst ourselves that this is going to be a primary mission, is to build these strong families so that we can link arm in arm to build this nation. No one is coming to save us. The building of Zion will not wait. Africa does await our creators and creation. Majesty commanded I and I, His Majesty prepare a place for I and I. No excuses. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion voice.
Yeah, Ras Tafari, Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Tell the people about Empress Mene. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, well, to the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see the city streets them flood, but when the hurricane blow down their wall, I'll be by your side and me nah budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, to the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, when they see their city streets them flood, when the hurricane blow down our wall, I'll be by your side and me not budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your light was a lifeline. I think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. They say hurt people, maybe that's why Babylon them so evil. Maybe Babylon abused as a child. That's why them no like the light when you smile. That's why them no like how your body curve. The way how you dance keep on Babylon nerve. Them no know how the Almighty you serve. Want to be a queen, so a king you deserve. And I'll be by your side when things get worse. When the city flood cause the dam just burst. When you can depend on no state or church. Firm like a man in an Haile Selassie first.